Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on CTV News at 5. A Kitchener family is sharing their story of survival after a devastating house fire destroyed their home, vehicles, and belongings. They say they owe their lives to an unexpected hero. Flames ripped through this Aaron Street West home last week, causing an estimated $400,000 in damage. The family says they lost 3 vehicles and nearly everything they owned when the fire spread throughout the house. It's believed to have started on the front porch. No injuries were reported, but more than a week later, they're still coming to terms with what they lost.
I woke up to Duke waking me up, pulling my hair, barking in my face, shaking uncontrollably. And I thought somebody was knocking on my door, so I went to the side door, didn't see anybody. So went back to my room to look out the window, and I saw the fire on the front porch in front of my bedroom. If it wasn't for him waking me up, we would not be here today. Everything, I'm displaced and staying at a hotel. Yeah, it's just everything. Our memories, it's all gone.
The cause of the fire remains under investigation. The hidden signs of homelessness is getting noticed along the 401 corridor. People are living at carpool parking lots across the province, including in Waterloo region. Campers and RVs have been in the lots for months. The MTO and OPP say they are aware and are monitoring the situation. Many of those who live there are currently employed, but they say they simply can't afford rent.
My girlfriend works landscaping and then snow removal in the winter, and I just work on cars. Yeah, we're hoping to save up into some money to get first and last, and as well as have steady enough work that I could pay month to month, you know. So that's not always easy, that's for sure.
Experts say this type of living situation is not new, but is increasing. CTV's Jeff Pickle will have the full story tonight at 6. For now, we'll turn to the forecast with Ashley Bacon live in studio. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. What a beautiful way to start the week.
Gorgeous start to the week. And hey, the weekend turned out to be not all that bad either.
No, and you know, we knew there was going to be some rain on Saturday. We thought it was going to end around the dinner hour, but it actually ended a little earlier than that, and it turned out to be a wonderful Saturday evening.
Yeah, it really did.
Very warm, didn't feel too humid. In Sunday, stunning as well. It's not too warm, and you know, we're just can't complain too much when we see a bit of rain in the forecast in the coming days. We got to find that balance, right?
We do. We need it all.
Let's take a look at our radar. There is nothing right now to detect, but as you can see to the left of your screen there is going to be some rain headed our way very shortly. In the next little while, we'll start to see some cloud cover, and we will get that rain through the overnight hours. 26 degrees out there right now, a nice easterly wind at 17 kilometers an hour. And as we take a look at the rest of southwestern Ontario, Leanne, look at those warm temperatures, more summer-like than spring-like, and that makes for some rainy conditions. When it's all hot and humidity and, you know, everything evaporates, it's got to create some rain. Let's take a look outside off of Roger Street in Waterloo, the Spurline Trail there. Perfect afternoon to get out for a little walk and enjoy it, because as I said, that rain is going to be here by tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the temperatures are nice right now. It's a great Monday evening for it. All right, we'll take a quick break, tell you what you need to know. Head on down to Jack Couch Park Friday for YMCA night. The Panthers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. First pitch, 7:05. Tickets can be bought online.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news.
They're marketed as a quick boost of energy, but health experts are raising concerns about the growing popularity of energy drinks among young people. Joining us to talk more about this is Dr. Matthew Tenenbaum, the Associate Medical Officer of Health in Wellington, Dufferin Guelph. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me today.
What is it about energy drinks that has public health officials concerned, especially when it does come to children and teens consuming them?
So I think the thing to focus on with energy drinks is the fact that they contain caffeine, which of course many of us are exposed to all the time in things like coffee or tea. But with the fact that these drinks have high levels of them, they can be an issue in terms of making people feel unwell, especially if people are vulnerable to those effects early on. Younger people, because their bodies are different, are more vulnerable to feeling things like, pain in their chest, fluttering of their heart, difficulty sleeping, headaches, nausea, things like that. As well, there have been scenarios where people are more acutely unwell, develop things like seizures or heart problems as a consequence of these. Oftentimes, there's more to the story than just the energy drink, but young people seem to be a common factor, seem to be more at risk. At the same time, we are seeing these drinks are quite popular among young people. In Ontario, about 1 in 3 young people between grades 7 and 12 reported having an energy drink within the past year. So it is pretty popular to have these things. And we're concerned about the pattern people have in terms of how often they use, how much they consume, and what else they're consuming alongside these energy drinks.
Now, Quebec has introduced legislation that would ban the sale of energy drinks to those who are under age 16. What do you make of that approach?
So we know that, again, not everyone is equally vulnerable. Young people are more vulnerable to having some of these side effects and harms. So it does make sense to think about how young people use it as a particular kind of issue to consider. The bigger picture, though, is not just about energy drinks, but about many things that young people consume and the patterns of use. People who are young, they're often also thinking about other substances like alcohol, maybe consuming these things in social settings. These things might be being used alongside each other, which can have problematic consequences when they're combined. As well, when you are a young person, a teenager or adolescent, life can be quite stressful, and oftentimes energy drinks can be seen as a way to get through a challenging time at school or at work or with friends. And depending on how they're used, they can help, but also hurt in some other ways. Sometimes they can exacerbate stress, exacerbate anxiety. And it's important, whether you're a teen or you're a parent of a teen, to think about using those things in a safe and healthy way.
What should parents be aware of about the way that energy drinks are marketed towards youth?
So I think it's important to consider that, they're marketed as a way of helping people feel energetic, helping people feel well. And certainly some people, because of the caffeine, will get a little bit of boost in their energy when they consume these things, similar to what many people might experience after a cup of coffee, for example. Because these energy drinks often have high levels of caffeine, they can have a more pronounced effect. And in addition to making you feel more alert, they can also make you feel, like you have a headache, like you're nauseous, like you have a fluttering of your heart and your chest. So it's important for people to understand that even though they're marketed as having benefits, depending on how they're consumed, they could also have some harms, make you feel worse off than before you consumed one. As a parent, it's really worth thinking about talking with your child or the person you're looking after about energy drinks alongside many of the other things that people are exposed to when they're young, and making sure as much as possible you can have an open conversation where your teen is willing to share with you what they're doing, what their friends are doing, what they're hearing about, thinking about. Starting that conversation in a non-judgmental way is a really good way to get the conversation started, and making sure they understand both the benefits and the harms they might experience when they consume them. In particular, it's really important for people to know that the risks of energy drinks are particularly pronounced when they're combined with things like alcohol or other substances, when they're used in really, really large quantities or over long periods of time. As well, some people, because of medications they take or because of underlying medical issues, they may be more at risk for using these energy drinks in a way that's going to cause them real problems. For example, certain kinds of anti-epilepsy medication or ADHD medication or other kinds of medications that work on the brain, they can require very particular kinds of circumstances in the body that things like energy drinks or other things that have caffeine in them can disrupt. So it's really worth thinking about the general issue as well as the particular issues that might be relevant for your team.
It's definitely a lot to be aware of surrounding the energy drinks as well. Dr. Tenenbaum, thanks so much for your time and for your advice on this topic. Dr. Matthew Tenenbaum is the Associate Medical Officer of Health in Wellington, Dufferin, Guelph. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
We'll take you to break and check our Need to Know calendar. Celebrate Pride Month with the 4th annual Cambridge Pride Street Party. Check out over 50 vendors and food trucks along with some live performances. The free event is hosted by Grand River Pride and kicks off this Saturday at 1 p.m. Another beautiful start to the week here in Waterloo Region. You can certainly tell that we are that much closer to officially welcoming summer.
Yes, but spring showers are still here. The good news is temperatures will remain summer-like, but the conditions are going to get a little topsy-turvy, let's say, for the next few days.
That's all right. I think we can handle it. We've had a pretty good stretch here.
We had a great stretch, and I really think a lot of people will be happy to see a bit of rain come into their gardens and their fields. So we are going to see a bit of rain, and let's take another look outside now at the beautiful weather that is happening. Spurline Trail in Waterloo. What a gorgeous evening to get out and enjoy it while you can, unless you don't mind getting a little bit of rain on you, because it is, like I said, still going to remain nice and warm over the next few days, but the rain is expected by tomorrow and then continuing on and off through the rest of the work week. So we are going to see a little bit of this, a little bit of that this week. Let's get into our future cast, and that'll help paint the picture. Right now, seeing some beautiful conditions, a cloud here and there, not really overcast by any means, but over the next few hours, we'll start to see that overcast come in through the overnight, and then by tomorrow morning, we will get some rain. Now, there's going to be some pockets of sunshine in between rainfall. Don't let that fool you. Keep that umbrella handy, maybe some rubber boots. You're going to need it, because we will see some heavier rain through the afternoon and evening hours of Tuesday, and then again heading into Wednesday. Right now, though, across the country, a very nice day on the west coast. 17 for Prince George and Vancouver, a little bit wet in Victoria, and 14. 18 for Calgary and Edmonton and sunshine. As we push further east through the prairie provinces, Saskatoon is sitting at 18 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud. 24 in Thompson and sunny, so nice and beautiful there. As we move further towards our nation's capital, Ottawa and Montreal sitting at 26 degrees, Windsor 29, Sudbury 26 as well. So a very warm day in southern Ontario. Up in northern Ontario near Thunder Bay, a little cooler there with cloud conditions, and 16. And on the east coast, 17 in Halifax, 14 for Charlottetown, Corner Brook sitting at 12. So not a bad day, very spring-like throughout the country. It is the warmest here, though, it would seem, in southern Ontario. So 25 degrees for Waterloo Region right now. As I mentioned, high 20s for most of the region. So it's still very warm. And of course, when we have that warm weather, that's when rain can happen. Overnight, expecting it to dip to 13 degrees. There is a risk of an overnight thunderstorm, but I don't think that's really going to hit until tomorrow morning. We will see those risks of thunderstorms continuing throughout the day tomorrow. A south wind of 20 kilometers an hour and a daytime high of 28. Just as a reminder, we should see 23 this time of year, so we are sitting nice and warm for this time of year. Not too bad. As we take a closer look at our first at 5 forecast for Waterloo Region, showers continuing into your Wednesday, and 27, 26 for your Thursday and Friday. But overall, Leanne, like I said, temperatures are going to remain nice and summer-like. You'll just need to keep that umbrella nearby for the week.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a complete washout there, Ash. Perfect. Thanks so much. Here's what's trending today. The NBA Final is the big show in the Big Apple tonight, with upper deck seats in Madison Square Gardens reselling for as much as $6,000 US each, all for the chance to see if the hometown Knicks are able to make it 3 in a row against the San Antonio Spurs.
Bridges, Towns, wide open corner three, knocks it down.
The Knicks return home after dominating the Spurs in Game 1 and 2 in San Antonio. Game 3 set for tip-off at 8:30 Eastern Time tonight. The Toronto Marlies will be competing for the Calder Cup, the AHL's top prize.
To go straight to the goal. Kept in. Nylander slips away with it. Takes the shot. He scores! Fresh road for the Marlies as they're going to the Calder Cup.
Alex Nylander, the younger brother of Leafs forward William Nylander, scored in overtime to lift the Marlies to a 2-1 victory over the Penguins. The Marlies will face either the Colorado Eagles or the Chicago Wolves, who are squaring off in a Game 7 tonight. This is the Marlies' first Calder Cup appearance since 2018. Fresh cut fries, family memories, and a second chance at a lifelong dream. A former police officer who spent decades serving his community is now serving burgers and poutines at a tiny lakeside fry shack, and the response has been overwhelming. Here's CTV's Hannah Schmidt.
Most people go to the lake looking for a quiet summer getaway. But tucked inside this seasonal trailer park just seconds away from Puslinch Lake in Cambridge is a tiny fry shack with a big story.
I decided, well, it's multiple opportunities. I can actually fulfill my dream and open up a restaurant.
For owner Alan Barton, this little takeout window represents something much bigger.
After the end of last summer, my then partner decided this business wasn't really for him. And I bought him out, and it instantly became a family business.
Alan spent 3 decades as a Peel Regional Police officer, always dreaming of opening a restaurant. But life kept getting in the way. There were family responsibilities, permit challenges, and then a cancer diagnosis.
I got diagnosed with mouth cancer, and sort of took me out of the picture.
The business only opened for a handful of weekends last year. This season, with his daughter Amanda by his side, the dream is finally taking shape.
It took a bit to get the flow of things and to learn how to keep things organized and stock in between. So that was a bit of an adjustment, but it was overwhelming, but overwhelmingly wonderful.
The shack sits on McClintock Drive, the road leading into the trailer park, a place both father and daughter have been coming to for years.
My grandparents lived here in the summer. I used to spend my summers here. I used to catch frogs right here where this used to be. So it is very nostalgic.
I started working here part-time, and when I was 13, 14 years old, I ended up working and buying a moped and rode my moped from Mississauga. It took me 5 hours.
At Cooley's Fry Shack, the menu is simple. Burgers, hot dogs, sausages, and fresh-cut fries. But it's the story behind the name that has customers smiling.
There's some jobs that need to be done that nobody wants to do. You call a coolie, and the name stuck. So
sure did.
It just made sense. We needed a name for the Fry Shack, something a little different.
And as business continues to grow, Alan says the goal isn't just selling fries.
I'd like to be able to step out and step back and let the next generation take over.
It's building something that lasts.
Spend the time you can with family. Do it now, because you may not get another chance.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Cambridge.
Still ahead, sales slow down. The May market in Waterloo Region and why realtors believe we're seeing a shift. Here's what you need to know. Grab your roller skates and head down to Carl's Air Square tonight for an evening of music, movement, and outdoor fun. Summer Roller Skate starts at 7 p.m. and runs every Monday in DTK.
KW's Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Listen all summer for your chance to win. Turn the lights off, carry me home. With Bounce to your backyard.
Here's the final 5 stories we're following. The Canadian government is launching a new loan program to help domestic airlines deal with high fuel prices. Eligible airlines will be offered up to $150 million in repayable liquidity support on an as-needed basis. Carriers taking advantage of the program would have to commit to Buy Canadian, restrict dividends and executive compensation, and maintain their Canadian operations, including jobs. The Bank of Canada is set to announce its latest interest rate decision this week. Economists expect the central bank to hold its benchmark interest rate steady for a 5th consecutive time on Wednesday. The bank has kept its key interest rate at 2.25% since October of 2025. Its governing council says it's closely monitoring the impact of the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. The update also comes as Canada has entered a technical recession for the first time since 2010. Home sales across Waterloo region hit one of the slowest Mays in 15 years as buyers continue to stay on the sidelines. New numbers from the Cornerstone Association of Realtors show just 675 homes sold last month. That's down more than 20% from a year ago and the lowest May sales total since 2011. At the same time, inventory continues to grow, giving buyers more choice and helping push prices lower. Realtors say economic uncertainty and affordability concerns are still weighing on the market.
I think the market is just balancing itself out after some extraordinary activity in the last 15 years, and it's just finding its footing. And buyers are taking their time.
Spencer Turcotte breaks down the latest numbers for us at 6. While certain activities like fishing and swimming have never been allowed in Kitchener's Victoria Park's man-made lake, recreational boating has. But new signage in the park is now prohibiting the pastime. Matt Morris has been paddling at the lake for 5 years now and says he was shocked to see the new signs when he showed up this morning. Morris recently attended the city's public consultation meeting about the future plans for the park and says he had brought up the idea of expanding water activities.
Somehow this part never got recognized in the plan. So for me to come down and see the sign was a bit of a shock and certainly sadness, but not just for me as an old guy wanting to go for a paddle, but for the community, because I have been advocating for years to bring the rentals back. As many of your viewers will remember, the rentals, and even 30 years ago, a gondola that was on this waterway. Let's use the waterway so that everyone can enjoy the city in another way.
At 6, CTV's Karis Mapp will have more on his story and the response from the city. And finally, for us, researchers at the University of Waterloo have developed an alternative to heavy lead aprons used during x-rays. The team at UW created a new, lighter apron that doesn't shed lead dust, which can have negative health impacts. It's meant to be used by technicians who have to wear the heavy lead aprons all day, commonly leading to chronic pain over time.
It looks like a flexible apron compared to a metal lead stiff apron. This would be a flexible plastic type of apron. The color can come in different forms. That would not be a concern. But the main attribute of it, it's very lightweight. It's 1/10 of the weight of a lead apron.
Coming up tonight at 6, CTV's Heather Centerin finds out just how soon we could start seeing this material at clinics. We'll have that story and more for you at the top of the hour when your next local news takes place at 6. For now, we'll send it over to our team in the national newsroom. Take care, enjoy the sun, have a good night.